different sorts of work that barristers do. And then you can sit back and say, actually, I want
This
to
is
do
where,
this.
okay, this is what I want to
And in
pursue.
terms of mentoring, I am a mentor.
Okay.
So I'm a mentor at Middle Temple, which is the inn that I belong
Okay,
to as a
okay,
barrister.
okay.
And so through that, I'm allocated students
Oh, that's lovely.
who are coming up,
Okay,
and so I mentor them. And so I will regularly have conversations with them to find out where they are, their journey, and I'll signpost
okay.
them to where they need to be. So
Yeah.
I try to guide them.
Okay, that's lovely. And listening to you, I can tell so many people will want to engage your service. Are you still open? Because I know you're extremely busy for what I heard.
Yes, so yes, of course I
You're
am
still very
available.
open to receiving more clients.
Yes, I am, very much so. Every barrister wants to have clients, so I'll never say no.
Okay.
And so, of course, my chambers is Threebolt Court Chambers.
Okay.
And if you go online, you'll be able to find the website and you can find our contact details. I'm also on LinkedIn, Jacqueline Victor Mazzelli, so you can always contact my clerks if you want my services. I specialize in immigration and human rights and also family court matters.
Guys, if you are listening, you better take advantage of this. You're not going to get it better than this. That's the truth. You're talking to someone that is not just knowledgeable in her field, but she's got the heart of gold. She wants to be the voice for the voiceless, and you're going to get to know why we celebrate her. She's not just talking; she's doing the talk. So once again, I want to thank you for coming on this show.
Thank
I'm
you
really
so
grateful.
much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank
So I want to ask a very important question, and this is okay. How does your work as a mediator and conflict coach align with your legal practice, particularly by fostering resolution and understanding? How do you do that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Thanks for asking it. So I actually think that having practiced as a barrister for so many years, and it's such a cutthroat environment when you're in court because you're an adversary
Yeah.
to your opponent. You're trying to prove that
Yeah.
their points are
Yeah.
wrong, and
Okay.
you want to ensure that your own client is right. So
Okay.
it's a very adversarial scenario. But what I want to do more is mediation. If I can get opponents to come together and talk about what it is that's keeping them
Okay.
very firmly rooted in opposing sides. And it's been so fulfilling being a mediator. I qualified in 2018, I think it was. Sometimes I forget. I think 2018 or 2019.
Okay.
And I am on the panel with the Society of Mediators, and they will allocate cases to me. And so I will have a chat with the client and find out if the other side is open to mediation, because
Okay.
actually both sides will need to be open to a mediation. And what you find is that initially they will sit in the same space, and for the first hour or two they're shouting and arguing, and they
Especially
don't
when it
want
comes to criminal cases, civil
Well,
case
you know,
probably could be.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and it could be any number of things. So the
Okay.
sorts of cases that are sent over to me, contracts, breaches of contract, commercial disputes,
Okay.
neighbor disputes, and as complex matters as wills and probate. So family
Okay.
members fall into these situations where a loved one has passed away,
Oh.
and then they fall out about what the will
What?
should say
Okay.
and what the will says and what it should say. And so you have those sorts of conflicts. So you sit in the same space with the opponent, and you just allow them to let their, upset come through. They can talk about it. They might want really just an apology from the other side.
Wow.
Sometimes it's as simple as that.
It's serious.
You took Mum's gold ring, apologize. You shouldn't have taken it. I want to have Dad's, special photograph.
That's personal
Just
touch,
as simple as something like as simple as, I want to have that thing that Dad said said over so many dinner parties that
So
he
is it
wanted to
special
give me.
training you went through to be able to achieve this?
Yes, I was trained as a mediator, and I
Okay,
believe it was
okay,
in 2019 with the
okay,
Society of Mediators.
okay.
And so it's quite an intense training program. And during the training program, you are encouraged to perform real life scenarios where, you know, even you as a trainer will have an opponent who's another trainer, and you
Okay,
can all have reenact
okay,
scenarios.
okay.
And so it was quite powerful. But one of the things that I'm really excited to talk about is that in addition to being paid as a mediator, I volunteer as a mediator with the Society of Mediators, and we go to the Royal Courts of Justice
Okay.
once every year, and we run this scheme where we stand sort of at the reception area, make ourselves available to litigants in person,
That's
who,
lovely.
if they wish to engage us on the day of their
I
trial,
think we need to let the public know about this. Most people are not aware of this.
they wouldn't be aware of it because it's not as well advertised as one would like. But on the day, you can actually have people being interested in a mediation.
That's
So
lovely.
you can then take them into one of the allocated rooms and sit with them and resolve the matter. And then you have a signed, you know,
Okay.
notice, which is then handed over to the judge. And the judge is happy because actually the judge then doesn't have to decide
Wow.
on that case. So this is a pilot that was started a few years ago, and then because of the success
Okay.
of this scheme, the Royal Courts of Justice have allowed the Society of Mediators to do this every year, and so we're given a few rooms there to go and take our litigants in person
Okay.
and try and see whether we can facilitate mediation.
Wow.
And so that's something that I feel very happy about.
I think this should be announced. This should be advertised more.
I agree.
Yeah,
with you.
I think this should be. The public needs to know this
I agree with
because
you.
I'm just hearing this for the very first time too, and I believe
Yes.
so many of our audience they're just hearing this for the very first time. Thanks
Yeah.
for making this known. So it's a good start. We appreciate that.
And it's
so-
free of charge. You don't have to pay. It's, you know, we volunteer our services. So, you know, you come to court and instead of going to court and maybe spending 2 or 3 hours
Wow.
fighting the case, you can go into the rooms and have a mediation. And
Everyone is
have it
happy. The
settled.
judge is happy. Everybody's happy.
Absolutely.
This is good. This is good. This is good. Thank you for what you do. Really, this is lovely. And so I just want to ask, okay, as a Middle Temple mentor and advocacy trainer, what advice would you give to an aspiring barrister, especially those from marginalized background, and what advice would you give to them?
So in terms of the mentoring, again, I encourage young aspiring barristers. It's a very difficult thing to make a decision whether you want to be a barrister or a solicitor or something else in fact.
Okay.
And so I always suggest that you do as many work experiences
Okay.
as possible. And so that would entail spending some time in barristers' chambers, spending some time in solicitors' offices, spending time in other organizations
Yeah.
until you know what it is you feel you're
Okay.
called to do. Because actually, at age 18, I don't think that many people know
Yeah,
what they want
that's
to
true.
do.
That's true.
And that's the point at which they're required
Okay.
to make decisions about their A levels and you know, subjects and things like that. And then you go to university,
Okay.
you're already following that path, but you haven't had any real experience. So I always encourage
Okay.
the young adults to have as much work experience as
Okay.
possible.
Okay.
I'll share one of my own stories from my own son, who wasn't clear whether he wanted to work in tech or
Okay.
in you know, an environment where he would help people rehabilitate after injuries, because he's very good in terms of fitness and wellness and he can help people to plan their nutrition.
That's the
help
part she
them-
got from you, the passion to help people.
Yeah, so
Okay.
he certainly likes to do things like that, but he wasn't clear which of those two pathways to follow. So my husband and I arranged for him to do lots and lots of work
Okay.
experience. My
That's
husband
good.
is into tech, so he took him into his offices and he spent many weeks there doing so many different
Okay.
things, shadowing so many different people. And so he saw that that was the strength. And then I arranged with a friend of mine who was, I forget now, director at North Middlesex Hospital, Dr. Culloch, and he very kindly made it possible for my son to go and have some work experience
Wow.
there. So he was able then to say to me, Mum, I can see myself as a physiotherapist
Are you
or
serious?
as a doctor. I
Right.
can see myself doing that.
So how do you
But
resolve that?
Mum, I'm going to focus on tech.
Okay.
And I said, fine, but the point is you've had experience doing these different roles
Okay.
and seeing what people do in those jobs. So now you can make an informed decision. And
That's
so
good.
he's now working in tech with a German investment bank, and he's doing really well and he's very happy. So I'm happy that I encouraged him
Yeah.
to make an informed decision before embarking, because many years ago parents just told
Yeah.
you you're going to be a barrister,
Barrister.
you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a teacher, but you weren't really encouraged to find out for yourself
Okay.
what you felt called to do.
This is
And,
lovely. That will take me to my next question based on your life experiences, because your son is blessed and there's so many sons and daughters out there that would love to have that experience. And people sometimes get to the 30s and realize that they have been on a wrong journey.
And it's never too late
and,
to turn around.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
never too late, is it?
So thanks for that. That's lovely. So based on from your experiences in life and blending career, family, and faith, and also what's something important as head of chambers, what can you tell to upcoming barristers, solicitors, or just a youth about the pitfalls, the challenges, and things to look for, things to be careful about to build a successful career?
Right, and certainly my own experience, I have been in different chambers over the years, and I have seen different chambers being run differently. So you do need to be respectful to everybody, your colleagues, the clerks, and your clients.
Yeah.
And when you go to court, be respectful, the
Okay.
judges, everybody.
Okay.
Because that stands you in good stead. It's such a small community, everybody knows everybody.
Wow.
So if you do a sloppy job today, somebody
You
will
get a bad referral.
Yeah,
in a
somebody
negative
will
way. Okay.
be talking about it, and in fact, from the judge all the way down to your clerk, it
Wow.
will be fed down. So work really hard. Make sure you know your case really well.
Okay.
Sometimes you get your brief the night before
Okay.
the case. So if you have to stay up and know your case from front to cover, from front to back, thoroughly, and so that you know all the information and you can just talk about your case really thoroughly when you
Okay.
go to court. That would be my biggest advice. So know your case.
Oh,
Know
thank
your
you.
case.